There's really just no two ways about it, you guys. For better or for worse, or for much, much worse, Democrats are stuck with President Joe Biden. At least that's the impression that President Obama seems to be giving with the recent words that he provided about the president. In a post on X, formerly Twitter, the day after the debate, Obama offered support for President Joe Biden's re-election run, whose demeanor Thursday night renewed concerns over the 81-year-old's age and ability to serve another 4 years. Now, according to Obama, bad debate nights, they happen. He said, "Trust me, I know." But does he? Several commentators were critical of former President Barack Obama's reaction to the first 2024 presidential debate. Political commentator Chris Czynszak, he compared Biden's performance to what Obama did back in 2012 in the first debate against Utah Senator Mitt Romney. He said that was a bad debate night. He was rusty, and it showed. But according to Czynszak, that in no way compared to what we saw from Biden last night. Biden was not rusty. He was out of it. It was a historically bad performance. But what was really surprising to me was that Obama may be defending Biden in public, but in private, the former president reportedly expressed concerns over a rematch between President Joe Biden and Donald Trump ahead of the recent debate. Now, apparently, according to the White House insider, Obama has privately spoken with allies about Biden's path to re-election and how it has become more and more difficult now following his performance in the debate against Trump. So yeah, see, they're kind of stuck with this guy. The Heritage Foundation, one of America's largest conservative groups, is already getting challenges ready in battleground states should Joe Biden agree to step aside. They're already saying that swing states, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Nevada are likely arenas for legal challenges, given the complexity of switching presidential candidates in those states. At the same time, though, many critics comment that there is no way to restore the illusion that Biden is fit for presidency. So it's darned if you do and darned if you don't situation right now for Democrats. What do you guys think? Does former President Donald Trump have this one in the bag or not? Or will the likes of Obama and Biden, or old Biden as my uncle likes to call him, have something else up their sleeve? You know we like to keep an eye on things here, especially with the election right around the corner. This is one update you do not want to miss, guys. Y'all ready? By the way, if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for sharing these videos. You guys are awesome. I mean, guys, even CNN is dumbfounded about what Democratic leaders are doing. Check this out.
Democratic leaders, as you know, Kristen, they're clearly rallying around President Biden right now, including the former President Barack Obama, who issued a statement saying this: "Bad debate nights happen, trust me, I know. But this election is still a choice between someone who has fought for ordinary folks his entire life and someone who only cares about himself. Last night didn't change that, and it's why so much is at stake in November." Is the Democratic Party seemingly out of touch right now?
This decision to circle the wagons around President Biden less than 24 hours after the complete debacle of last night is somewhat baffling to me. In some ways, it seems like an extreme vote of no confidence in the entire rest of the party and Vice President Harris to pick up the reins and run in the face of what was truly disastrous. And it's possible that voters walk away from last night and it doesn't actually change the race. But fundamentally, by saying, oh, this was just a bad night, this was just a one-off, maybe he can recover, assumes that voters did not go into last night already assuming that Joe Biden has lost a step and is perhaps not capable of being commander-in-chief. And yet in every poll that I've seen, that is the worst criteria on which he does, that he has the stamina and energy and coherence to be the president. He did nothing to allay those concerns last night. I do not understand why the Democratic Party is not breaking the emergency glass right now.
He had a much better speech today, though.
Now, Obama's kind of making Trump's point for him because he's arguing that one of the candidates is only thinking of himself, and you could say that about Biden, who's still kind of pushing through with this campaign, even though a lot of Americans are already saying that he doesn't have it in him anymore, and certainly not to last another term. But then again, they said that they have to keep him as they've already filled out the mail-in ballots. So yeah, who's really doing this just for himself? You tell me. Obama said so himself. So much is at stake in November. But as political commentator Chris Czynszak points out, Biden was not rusty. He was out of it. It was a historically bad performance. Freelance writer Louis Pietzman wrote how it was completely effing insane that this is the party's position. Bill Kristol, chief of staff to former Vice President Dan Quayle and conservative political commentator, raised questions about the former president's statement. He said, one, you don't see President Obama for this unless you're seeing a meltdown among Democratic elites. And two, there is nothing in particular to Biden. Obama's criteria for the anti-Trump side of the choice, he describes, also fits Harris, Whitmer, Shapiro, and others. Michael Tyler, the communications director for Biden's campaign, told reporters that there were no conversations whatsoever regarding plans for the president to step aside for this election. According to some people, that's because it really makes no difference as Obama still runs the show in the Democratic Party. Some others comment how they just don't think Jill Biden will let him even drop out. As Biden's probably #1 confidant in his campaign, people are starting to see Jill as a horrible person who just can't let go of some of the power that she has, so instead she resorts to what some would describe as elder abuse in her instance to keep Joe Biden in the campaign. You know what I mean? Now guys, if you're finding this breakdown of Obama's comments and Biden's campaign interesting or helpful in any way, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Totally appreciate you guys. But seriously guys, former President Barack Obama is certainly showing signs of worry over the Democrats' hold in power. In fact, just recently, the Washington Post published a new report detailing that Obama has privately spoken with allies about Biden's path to re-election and how it has become even more difficult now following his performance in the debate against Trump. Now, apparently Obama had a heart-to-heart with him about it just before one of the debates, and it made the headlines in the Washington Post. Now, according to the Post, Obama made his concerns clear to some of those who were close to him just prior to the debate. Then, not long after, the New York Times dropped a piece suggesting Biden recently spoke with an ally to weigh his decision on possibly dropping out of the 2024 race. When the story hit, Andrew Bates from the White House jumped on X, you know, the platform that used to be Twitter, to set the record straight. He was pretty upfront, calling the report absolutely false and wishing that they'd had more than 7 minutes to throw their 2 cents in before the story went live. But let's be real, everybody saw the CNN presidential debates. And even if you didn't, I'm pretty sure you saw the highlights on TikTok and Reels on Instagram. And Biden was no spring chicken at 81 to begin with. Then, in the debate itself, viewers saw that he sounded hoarse and he seemed to be lacking in energy, sometimes struggling to answer questions. Biden aides say that he was fighting off a cold, but still that didn't stop some Democrats from whispering about maybe it's time for a change. Back in January, Obama reportedly spoke with Biden about the former president's concerns over Donald Trump's strengths and the possibility that he may be a stronger candidate than some others realize. And true enough, a CNN poll following the debate found that 67% of debate watchers said Trump won the debate, compared to only 33% that said Biden won. So yeah, it really looks like the people have spoken, and I imagine the Obamas and the Bidens, they're getting more and more nervous by the day. What do y'all think? But we shouldn't get complacent here. You know what I always say, desperate people are dangerous people, and these days, you can't get any more desperate than the Democrats, am I right? So yeah, we should really prepare just in case they try to pull a fast one and you know what, the election. In fact, as early as now, conservatives are planning to mount a major legal challenge if Democrats seek to replace Joe Biden as their presidential nominee. This coming from the Heritage Foundation, one of America's largest conservative groups. Now, according to this, the group is already getting challenges ready in battleground states should Joe Biden agree to step aside. In particular, they named the swing states Wisconsin, Georgia, and Nevada as likely arenas for legal challenges, given the complexity of switching presidential candidates in these states. They deny that they're planning to take him out of the race. Just recently, Biden's campaign spokesperson Lauren Hitt told the Associated Press that, of course, he's not dropping out. But then again, better safe than sorry, right? The executive director of the Heritage Foundation's oversight project, Mike Howell, said that they are monitoring the calls from across the country for President Joe Biden to step aside, either now or before the election, and they will remain vigilant that appropriate election integrity procedures are followed. Now, according to the Heritage Foundation research, Georgia, Wisconsin, and Nevada may prove particularly difficult for Democrats. It said that only death can remove a candidate's name from a Wisconsin's ballot, while Nevada's deadline for changing candidates ended at 5 p.m. on the 4th Friday of June, in this case, June 28, 2024. It also allows special consideration beyond that deadline if the candidate is mentally incapacitated, and we know that's a potential legal minefield that could consume months and months of legal argument. Georgia also allows candidates to withdraw up to 60 days before an election. So if Biden withdrew after that date, which would be in early September, his name would remain on the ballot, but votes for him would not count. The Heritage Foundation states that some other states have no procedures to guide the replacement process, which would also open up a huge area of potential litigation by Republicans. So you get the picture, guys. They may try to pull something, but we will be watching, all right? But let's face it, what options do they really have when there's no way to restore the illusion that Biden is fit for the presidency? The Biden administration seems to be in full damage control mode lately, but reports suggesting the president's compromised mental state, they just keep popping up. According to some high-level leaks to Politico, President Biden's top staffers have been keeping bad news from him during his regular briefings to kind of keep it from triggering his notorious rages. So yeah, guys, it's more than just keeping him secluded. They're actually shielding him from what's happening in the outside world. And they're supposedly doing this during his so-called functional hours from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. when the staff figured that the president is functional, albeit it seems not so functional that you can actually level with him. Politico also pointed out that concerns about Biden's capacity have been clear for a while now, prompting a few close advisors to form an increasingly protective circle around him. Even First Lady Jill Biden has played a big part in keeping tough talks away from him, brushing off any kind of worries about his fitness for office. Now, according to him, no one has done more to keep the president isolated and shielded from tough conversations than First Lady Jill Biden, who publicly scoffs at any concerns over her husband's competency. Technically, Biden might still be the president, but if he's only getting part of the story, is he really in control? Because the staff's approach to managing him seems pretty similar to how you treat someone with dementia, which they keep denying that he has. Oh, and now recovering addict, retired influence peddler Hunter Biden is sitting in the president's meetings. Veteran journalist Carl Bernstein has been saying that many who've stood by Biden, they're now sounding the alarm. People who have loved and supported Biden have been pouring out of the woodwork to raise the alarm, claiming that there have been 15, 20 different occasions in the last year and a half when the president has appeared somewhat as he did in the horror show on Thursday's disastrous debate. And hey, no matter how hard they try to sell it, the White House strategy of just showing Biden reading from a teleprompter in a few minutes isn't really convincing anyone. Even a pre-recorded interview with George Stephanopoulos hasn't done the trick. In fact, 2 House Democrats have even suggested that it might be time for him to step aside, declaring that he needs to go. And signs show that more might follow. Really, it just kind of seems like they've been propping up a semblance of a leader at this point. When these issues were first raised, the White House hit back, dismissing them as cheap fakes. But now that more media outlets, including the New York Times, are reporting on these issues, it's getting harder and harder to keep up the facade. Whether these outlets knew and stayed quiet or just kind of missed the signs, the truth seems to be coming out, and all the presidential spin might not be enough to kind of put things back right again. So what do you guys think? Was Obama right? Are Democrats stuck with Biden at this point? Or are they going to try a fast one in the coming weeks? Share your thoughts down below, guys. Rest assured, though, we are going to keep an eye on this in our next updates. All you got to do is stay subscribed to the channel and keep that notification bell on. Oh, and speaking of Biden's recent gaffe, do not miss out on our other video where the internet just outright savages Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre's word salad after Biden wanders off with the crowd. I'm telling you guys, you cannot make this stuff up, so definitely check that out after this one. But as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Double thanks for lighting up the like button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, stay vigilant, guys.